In this suspense-filled story, Ada's life takes a dark turn when her mother forces her into a dangerous arrangement with a wealthy, older man, Chief Emeka, who holds sinister motives. As Ada uncovers a heartbreaking betrayal from the one person she trusted most, her journey to reclaim her freedom is filled with emotional conflict, fear, and resilience. The thrilling climax builds as Ada is forced to confront both her manipulative mother and Chief Emeka in a battle for her life and independence. I lived in Lagos with my mom. She was the most beautiful woman in our neighborhood, and everyone said she was charming. But she was also strict, especially with me. She always reminded me how much she struggled to raise me, and I understood that she wanted the best for us. But sometimes, her choices were strange. One day, she called me into her room. Ada, she said softly, I've found someone who will take care of us. His name is Chief Emeka, and he's very rich. I didn't like the sound of it. My heart raced. Chief Emeka. I had heard rumors about him. He was much older, and people said he was cunning. But Mom seemed excited. He wants to marry you, Ada. He's kind and wealthy. You won't have to worry about anything anymore. I blinked, stunned. Marry me. I was only 19. How could she say that? I don't love him, Mom. I don't even know him, I whispered. Her smile faded. Love. What has love done for us? We've been struggling for too long. This is our chance, Ada. He's offering you a better life. You will marry him, and soon, you'll have a child together. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could my mom force me into something like this? My mind was racing with questions, but she wouldn't let me speak. She hugged me tightly, whispering, Trust me, Ada. This is what's best for us. The days passed quickly. Chief Emeka started visiting our house more often. He brought gifts, expensive clothes, and jewelry for me. But every time I saw him, my stomach twisted in knots. I didn't like how he looked at me. His eyes were cold, calculating. One evening, I overheard a conversation between my mom and Chief Emeka. Remember our deal, he said. She will be yours soon, but I'm still in charge of this. My heart sank. What deal? I pressed my ear closer to the door, but I couldn't make out the rest. Fear crept into my chest. Something wasn't right. The following week, my mom announced that I would move into Chief Emeka's mansion. I cried and begged her not to send me away, but she wouldn't listen. You're going to be his wife, Ada. This is your new life now. I was trapped. I had no choice. When I arrived at the mansion, I was greeted by servants. Everything was grand. Golden chandeliers, marble floors, and large paintings on the walls. But it didn't feel like home. Chief Emeka was waiting for me. You'll learn to like it here, he said with a grin. I shivered. Days turned into weeks, and I barely saw my mom. Every time I called her, she seemed distant, as if she didn't care anymore. Chief Emeka started getting closer to me, forcing me to spend time with him. I felt trapped in a cage. One night, I overheard Chief Emeka talking on the phone. Yes, her mother and I had an agreement. She gets what she wants, and I get what I want. I gasped. My mom had been part of this all along. She sold me to him. Tears filled my eyes as I realized the horrible truth. The next day, I confronted Chief Emeka. What did you mean about an agreement with my mother? He smiled coldly. Your mother and I have been close for a while. She knew I wanted a younger wife, someone who could give me an heir. She promised me you in exchange for wealth. And now, it's time for you to fulfill your role. My world collapsed around me. My own mother betrayed me for money and power. I was nothing but a pawn in their twisted game. But I wasn't going to let them control me anymore. I had to escape. I started planning my getaway, knowing that every moment I stayed in the mansion put me in more danger. I snuck around the house, looking for a way out. But Chief Emeka's men were everywhere. They watched my every move. I felt hopeless, but I refused to give up. I would find a way to free myself. Then, one night, I heard a soft knock on my door. It was one of the maids. "I've seen how unhappy you are," she whispered. "I know what's been going on. I can help you escape." My heart pounded with hope and fear. Could I trust her? The maid told me about a secret passage that led out of the mansion. "You have to leave tonight," she said urgently. "If Chief Emeka finds out, he won't let you go." I knew this was my only chance. With trembling hands, I packed a small bag and followed her through the dark corridors. The passage was narrow and damp, but I didn't care. Freedom was just a few steps away. But just as we reached the exit, we heard footsteps behind us. "Where do you think you're going?" It was Chief Emeka's voice, cold and furious. My heart stopped. He had found us. I felt paralyzed with fear. But the maid grabbed my hand and pulled me forward. "Run, Ada. Don't stop." We burst through the door and into the night, racing through the garden towards the gate. We barely made it out before the guards could catch us. I ran as fast as I could, not stopping until we reached the main road. Tears streamed down my face, but I felt a glimmer of hope. I was free, but I knew this wasn't over yet. Chief Emeka wouldn't give up so easily, and my mom. I had to confront her. When I finally reached home, my mom was waiting for me. "Ada," she said softly, as if she wasn't surprised to see me. "You came back, but this time, I wasn't the scared little girl who did everything she said." I stood tall. "How could you betray me like this?" I demanded. "You sold me to that man." Her face hardened. "You don't understand, Ada. I did it for us. For our future." But I shook my head. "No, Mom. You did it for yourself. You used me for your own greed." The final confrontation with my mom was intense. She tried to justify her actions, saying that life in Lagos was hard and she was just trying to survive. But I couldn't forgive her. I couldn't forget how she had betrayed me. I walked away, leaving her and Chief Emeka behind forever. I didn't know what my future would hold, but I was finally free to make my own choices. If you're captivated by this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more gripping tales. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update. What would you do if faced with such a betrayal? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below.